I spent all fall and winter trying to figure out how I was going to handle my rodent problem. I tried small chicken coops and Dollar Tree mesh metal waste baskets, and they both actually worked, but they also limited the size of the plants that were growing inside of them. And the chicken coops were actually really hard to get in and out of when I needed to maintain the plants. So I had been seeing these garden boxes on the internet, and I thought maybe one day when I'm in my final retirement place, I'll invest in one. But you only live once, and I decided to get my dream garden bed. I have a small yard, and I wasn't sure it would fit, but it fits right in place. I call this my garden house. When I'm inside, I feel right at home, like I'm in my own little garden world. So let me show you around. It's made out of cedar, and it's 8 feet wide and 12 feet long, so that back bed is 12 feet long. It's fully enclosed with 1/4-inch hardware cloth, and the raised beds are 2 feet high. They leveled the ground underneath with gravel, and I don't have a problem with gophers or moles or voles yet, but I'm only going to fill these beds up once, and so I went ahead and put the leftover hardware cloth all around the bottom to prevent anything from burrowing under. The beds are pretty deep, so they probably couldn't get in, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Now that my garden house is built, my next focus is going to be just on getting the soil to get all of these beds filled up. I know that it's going to be about 3 yards, and I've already had some visitors. They gave up pretty easy this time, but I know they'll be back once I put more into these garden beds. I'm also refurbishing one of my other garden beds that I moved out of that area. I'm cutting about a foot off of the bottom of this bed, and I'm just going to make it more stable so that I can use it again. So after I cut the bottom off, I am going to stabilize the inside by putting some new wood to help brace it so that it'll last a little bit longer. The best part about this project was just getting to use this nail gun. This thing was so much fun to use. Once I started, I found so many areas that needed nails. I just didn't want to stop using it. After I finished adding all of the interior wood braces, I added these corner brackets that are made for raised beds. In my previous bed, the corners were the weakest part, and that's where they came apart. So I wanted to add something to make that area a little bit more secure. After I finished with the bed, it was time for me to put it in place, and I decided I'm going to put it under this trellis where I've been keeping these containers through the fall and winter. And when I moved the container, I saw so many grubs. There were so many grubs in this soil. I spent a couple of hours digging down as deep as I could and removing as many as I could. I put them in this cup of soapy water. To fill this bed up, I'm starting with wood that was at the bottom of this raised bed when it was in its previous location. And I'm just going to lay that wood out at the bottom of this raised bed. And then use the soil that was in all of those containers in this area to fill it up to the top. My next chore is to start fertilizing, and I'm using organic alfalfa pellets. So this is a container that I had planned on using for winter sowing, but then I let the time get by me. And so what I did was I have holes in the top and the bottom. I put the alfalfa pellets in there and then I just soaked it in water. So it's like an alfalfa pellet tea. I'm going to warn you now, if you decide to do this, this smells so bad. Just be prepared. You can also just use the alfalfa pellets dry and you don't get this same smell. It'll just break down over time once the rain hits it. But I'm trying something different to see how I like that. This stuff is so dark and rich. It just really seems highly concentrated. So I decided that I am going to dilute it with water and put it in my watering can and just go around and fertilize some of my plants like that. When I got ready to pour it, it was still really dark and I thought I had diluted it quite a bit. But I did this about a week or so ago, and these plants are still looking fine. They didn't suffer at all. None of the plants that I use this in have had any issues, and they're growing in nicely. I used it on my little ornamental trees, my honeyberries, and then I came over to the other side of the garden and I used it in my herb bed on my rosemary, lavender, and then also on my other potted rosemary. I actually used it on everything that still has life in my garden, and everything's still doing fine. I'm using the soaked alfalfa pellets by just sprinkling them right on top of the garden bed. After I get them spread out as evenly as I can, I just go ahead and mix it into the soil. Normally, I do this about a month before I wanted to plant in a bed, and that's part of the reason that I decided to soak the pellets this year instead of just sprinkling them out, so we'll see how that works out. I'm behind on my garden prep this year, and I have a list of chores a mile long, so I'm on a mad dash to try to get everything done before the heat of summer hits. Hopefully, I can get some things planted out. My seedlings are beyond ready to come outside, so I'll keep you posted. If you made it this far with me, hit the like button and tell me, how is your garden season going so far this spring? Have you planted everything out? Are you behind? Do you have a list of chores like I do? Thanks for watching. Happy growing.